right, in section 2.1, we are going to be looking at ways to represent qualitative data graphically and sometimes in charts as well. So in this section, we're going to find out that qualitative, and remember again, those are the like categories of data. Yes, no, male, female, refuse to say, whatever. So qualitative variables can be described with pie charts, bar graphs, and frequency tables. Okay, pie charts, bar graphs, and frequency tables. So in this first example, we've got a survey where adults were asked how motivated they are to have a healthier lifestyle, and the results are given in the table. So we're actually going to go through the questions down below as we work through this. So first of all, what is the population? Okay, what is the population? So again, this is the who or the what was surveyed. Okay, who or what was surveyed. So it says up at the top, we were asking adults. So again, using the word all, we didn't ask, but the population is all adults. That's who we're interested in learning about. Okay, so what is the variable? So what were they trying to find out? Okay, so the variable in this case is their level of motivation to live a healthier lifestyle. Okay, what is the sample? Okay, what is the sample? Well, remember, the sample has to come from the population. So the sample is the adults surveyed. And then what is the sample size, which we will use the lowercase letter n to represent the sample size. So that is something important to note. Okay, sample size will have the notation n. So in order to figure out what the sample size is, we simply need to add up the frequencies. Okay, now there's a symbolism here that I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you this guy there. That's a giant sigma. Okay, that means the sum of. Okay, that's exactly what that means. So sum of, and then we're going to put a big ol' F here. This part means the frequencies. Okay, sum of the frequencies. So I'm going to go up to the table, same thing, sum of the frequencies would be what? So if you add up the 24, the 28, the 6, and the 25, we will find the sum is 83, and so the sample size is 83 people. Okay, again, you're going to see that notation in this class, but especially if you have to take other classes that deal with statistics, you're going to see that one a lot, and it would be remiss of me to not introduce and use that notation to you. Okay, then moving on here. So what was the data? Okay, what was the data? So again, if you were to see this in raw form, not consolidated into a table form, what would the data look like? Okay, well, it would be the list of the 83 responses to the question. Okay, so you see unmotivated, unmotivated, highly motivated, somewhat motivated, etc. All right, complete the relative frequency column. Now, relative frequency simply means that you're going to write your answer as a decimal or a percent. Now, in this case, it says as a percent to 2 decimal places. And so that's exactly what we're going to do, is write them as a percent. So relative frequency is really talking about what percentage of the people said that they were motivated, what percentage of the people said that they were somewhat motivated, etc. So in order to find that percentage, again, take the number in that category and divide by the total number. Okay, as a decimal, this is 0.2892, and turning it into a percentage is 28.92%. Okay, so remember it says round the percentage to 2 decimal places. That means we have to round the decimal to 4 decimal places, because we're going to move that decimal point 2 spots to the right to turn it into a percentage. Or if you prefer, multiply the decimal by 100. Okay, similarly going through the others, so we'd have 28 divided by 83, and you'll get the decimal version. Either move the decimal 2 places to the right or multiply by 100. We should find out that we're at 33.73%. For the unmotivated, 6 out of 83. I hope you come up with 7.23%. And then last but not least, 30.12%. And that should add up to 100%. Okay. One note, it is okay to be off by like a little bit, by like a decimal point, just because of rounding. So oftentimes, especially when you have an odd number of values, you might end up at like 99.99% or 100.01%, for example. Don't worry about that. That's just an issue of rounding up more times than you rounded down, or vice versa, but do definitely pay attention to your rounding. Okay, so there's our relative frequency table. And the frequencies add up to 100%, which again, they should, but let yourself have a little room for error. Okay. And then what is one conclusion we can make from the data? So again, looking back at the table, what is something you can say? Okay. You can certainly look and say, the majority of people are motivated on some level to live a healthier lifestyle, because if you add up the motivated and the somewhat motivated, we're talking more than 60% of the people. Okay. You could say, about a third of the people are very unmotivated. Okay. Fewer people are unmotivated than very unmotivated. Again, take whatever you want from that and draw your conclusions. There's a lot of different things that you can say about what's there.